What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good day. Today we're looking at an article on that Park Place regarding Elon Musk weighs in on Dragon Quest creator accusing American regulations of forcing removal of option to choose between male and female genders. This is insane. And I think where this all boils down to and what the issue over here is that whenever it comes time for people to create their own work of art, it becomes an issue when it goes overseas. And it's showed that it's purely one-sided. You got one group of people forcing their culture on another group of people, and the idea is that this is how it's going to be, otherwise we're not going to put it out there. Now the problem you have over here, this is a game which came out a very long time ago, Dragon Quest 3. Now they got the HD 2D remake, and the issue that you have over here is the people who are going to buy this game, the biggest customer base is going to be the people who play the original. There's going to be people who are already fans of this game, if not fans of the franchise. And when it comes time to remastering these older games, people love it for its nostalgia bits. When you start to change things in the game, it becomes an issue for people in this day and age, and that may result in people not really buying the game, but instead just playing up on old hardware. I know of people who, instead of purchasing games like this, will just crack out the old one when it initially when the new one gets released, and just play the old one on old hardware and have a blast just for nostalgia time's sake, and just to be part of that group of people saying, hey look, we're all playing Dragon Quest at this point in time. Now I do get that as far as the HD 2D remake goes, there are some advantages to it. Obviously quality of life improvements here and there as far as the visuals go, and things are obviously with the modern day technology that we have, it does change things up quite a bit. But when you start to go a bit too crazy into the changes, that's where the issue comes in. Now as far as the article goes, at that Park Place, it was reported at the beginning of this month that developer Square Enix was removing the option of players to choose between male and female characters, instead listing the character options of A and B. That's a bad idea in my opinion, because I find it very disrespectful to the original creation of the game. You should have left it as is, because that's like the basic foundations of your character, I would guess. This was reported by Ryokata 2089, who noted that the game has no distinction between male and female characters. Ryokutya, that's hard to pronounce. Also noted the characters are labeled A and B, and that A version appearing like a male hero, while B version is like a female hero. Ryokutya. That's so hard to pronounce. Even notes that the A version is voiced by a male character named Hiyama Nobuyuki, while the B version is voiced by Minaguchi Yuko. On top of the main characters having their sex removed, the character selects Ryokata also reported that jobs will also no longer be distinguished by gender in name. That's wild. These changes were confirmed in a preview for the game in the weekly Shonen Jump magazine. Ex-user ScratchPointZ shared. This preview is the latest issue of Japanese magazine Weekly Shonen Jump, where Dragon Quest confirms it's using Type A and Type B as its body types. Now, when it comes down to this kind of stuff, I think it's always a bad thing to disrespect the original creators or the original designs for a game. The reason being is people fell in love with the original for a reason, and that nostalgia rush is a huge proponent to people who are going to buy this game again, because you got to understand, while you are trying to attract new fans, the bulk of your player base will be old fans, and old fans remember what the game was like. And those people who are diehard fans of it, those are the guys who buy all of the stuff, all of the merch. They're the guys who will spend the extra day one purchasing this and that. They're the guys who will buy like the collector's edition and all the art books and whatever else you have with it. It's not necessarily the newer guys. Yeah, you'll get a few new guys who are new to the franchise or who are new fans or buying the game for the first time, but usually it'll be like either somebody who's going to be reviewing the game or somebody out there who's just a collector. And it can become a bit of an issue down the line, because when you alter something too much, people just go back to the original and have more fun with that. So following this confirmation, the game was added to Sweet Baby Inc. detected Steam curator list, as well as Brutus Rambo's DEI detected website. Now, as far as all of these games go, anything added to that list, in my opinion, is going to do absolutely poorly. And the reason being is people cannot stand these DEI companies anymore. The average consumer, the people who know about this stuff, are not going to support it, period. They've closed their wallets to this. Now, on top of the removal of the option to choose between male and female characters, Brutus cites that the game also censored the trolls in the game by removing their lips. I don't know the reason why they would do that. I don't understand it as well. I mean, if you look at over here, on the left is what the new version looks like, on the right is the old version. And then obviously these are some of the different depictions of the game as well from Dragon Quest 3 as well. So it's very interesting to see that. I don't understand why they would do that. Who knows? Not only has the game been added to the Sway Baby Inc. Detected Steam curator list, as well as DEIDetected.com, but numerous gamers have expressed the game's Steam forums that they will not plan to purchase this game following the changes made by Square Enix, by Scheme Enix. McCraft posted, "No man, woman, DEI censorship, you don't get my money. No man or woman, DEI censorship, you don't get my money." And that's interesting to see that, because I think this is somewhat of the attitude of gamers in this day and age. When they see anything regarding censorship, DEI, and all of this other nonsense going to games, they're not going to support it. Because to be quite frank with you, you have something which is already amazing and beautiful as it stands. It did well for a reason. Modern games don't do well when they cater to the modern audience. We all know that from everything, including games like Concord, Star Wars Outlaws, and even Assassin's Creed Shadows. The pre-sales for that apparently were very low. Everybody understands and knows what's going on, and now that this is happening, we are aware and alive to the fact that this stuff is everywhere. And now that people can point it out, they're no longer going to support it. In an interview at TGS, alongside former Weekly Shonen Jump editor-in-chief Kazuhito Toriyama, Hori was asked about the changes made to the side character designs and specifically why clothing was added to Jenna Sharp, the female hero in the game, which has also been criticized. Now, there is a video of this floating around as well. I suggest you watch it for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description as well so you can actually get into it. As translated by Valued News, Hori responded, "Yeah, there were various regulations in place. Apparently, it's not allowed to show too much skin." He added, "I don't really understand that either. If there's too much exposure, the age rating goes up. It means you won't be able to sell to all ages product." When asked about the complying with the various countries' regulations, Toriyama claimed, under the name of compliance, it's like an absolute god, an evil disguised as good. There's not such thing as content that doesn't make everyone uncomfortable, because beauty and ugliness, good and evil, are different for everybody. And I think he's right. These things are subjective for a lot of people. What you may find good looking or beautiful may not always be the case for somebody else. There are a few things that absolutely must not be done. As long as you can follow those, you're free to do the rest," he added. Next, he stated, "There's a religious concept from the West, especially in America, that influences the approach to sex education, right? The approach to compliance is really narrow-minded. When selling manga in America, everything had to be categorized by age groups. For Shonen Jump manga, they couldn't be sold unless they were rated for ages 13 and up, because there's a risk of lawsuits. The company also has to get insurance. Doing business with such a ridiculous country is really frustrating. Because of that, Japan gets negatively influenced." And I think he's right, because Japanese products speak for themselves. So many people love what comes out of Japan. It's only when it goes to these Western countries that it becomes an issue. You always hear this with localizers, you always hear this with Western developers, and that's where all of these things stem from. All of this DEI crap and nonsense, all this censorship stuff always takes place in the West, and everybody is fed up with it. Everybody's had enough. The reason why these things also take place as well is because you got to understand that the people who are doing all of this stuff are people who have lobbied and advocated for it. So they've created the problem, and then they've offered the solution at a premium or at a price. So what they've done is they found a gap in the market where they can create problems and then bill you accordingly to fix it. Otherwise, if you don't do that or curtail to them, then guess what? Your products are no longer going to be allowed to be pushed to certain groups or sold. They are effectively holding the gaming industry hostage by, first of all, making the rules up and then saying we are the only people who can get you around the rules and you have to pay us to do so. That's how it's all worked out now. And there's nothing we can do about it as far as it goes besides close your wallet and shut these people down. Hori then addressed the removal of the choice between the character male and female in Dragon Quest. You used to be able to choose between male and female main character, but now you can't choose between man and woman anymore. We have to label them as type 1 and type 2, he added. I really wonder who's even complaining about this. And that's the thing. The only people complaining about this are people who don't have money. These people don't buy these games. They're activists, they're journalists. These are people who have hijacked the community, or rather hijacked the gaming industry to the point where they are the voices who are at the front of everything, but they are the people who don't support anything. They don't pay for anything, they don't buy these things, they don't support these products, and the people who would have supported are the ones who are now closing their wallets to this, and that's further destroying all of these companies. Elon Musk, as he reports, is that from Autism Capital Moscow, Japanese game developers are frustrated at the false, ridiculous, UN-driven globalist agenda compliance they have to include in their game. Under the name of compliance, it's like an absolute god, an evil disguised as good. There's no such thing as content. Elon Musk responds, "This is insane." As far as it goes, I also think it is insane, and I don't believe that this is how art should be handled. If it was okay in the past and stuff like that, obviously given how insensitive certain things may be, I can understand where the frustrations come from. But at the end of the day, if these guys are going to be putting out games and art, They shouldn't be restricted and curtailed to one type of culture out there. There seems to be like this hive mind mentality where like every single culture, every single country must conform to one standard. And that, in my opinion, is more harmful than good, because you got to understand there are different cultures out there. And as we intermingle and learn from each other, we also grow together. To say that you have some sort of dictatorship on this whole industry is where it's all going to fall apart and die out, because people, you got to understand, there are different groups of people who think differently, who believe in different things, and the moment you disrespect their differences, those groups start to close up and shy away, and then eventually you're left with a minute, or rather a minority of people who believe only one thing, who say this is how things should be done, and everybody is like, you know what, jump off a cliff, we don't give a damn, you can go and fuck yourselves. And that's effectively what's going to happen over here. I suspect Dragon Quest will sell okay numbers out of nostalgia's sake, but people are going to be unhappy about it, and I don't see this thing doing very well, in my opinion. With that being said, guys, I'm out of this video. I'll leave it over there. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, have a good day and goodbye.